I love it. It's problem solving. I think that's the big thing for me is everyone has their own workflows, their own ways of working, and you get to hear about all of these different ways that people create their content and people love their work, and then you get to come in and help them make their lives easier.
Hey, Andrew, thanks for joining me. I'm going to start off with a pretty hard question, which is, who are you and what is it that you do?
Hey, I'm Andrew, and I streamline and automate creative workflows in the Adobe suite. And I do this by writing code and building extensions. I do these on both a custom basis, so for very specific workflows, and I also create general products like Submachine, which you might have seen around, which helps people automate their subtitling and captioning workflows for especially dynamic word-by-word subtitles.
What got you into this?
It was a very winding road. There was no plan. I sort of accidentally fell into it. I started helping my partner, our wife, when she was creating some videos probably about 10 years or so ago. And I fell into iMovie and then sort of got into After Effects, and that sort of led me into getting into expressions. Then from expressions, I got into scripts, then scripts into extensions. And then we started building extensions, and we set up our own video editing house. And I helped streamline and automate a lot of that. That's still running and going well. And from there, I made a lot of connections to Adobe and through the video editing and production world. And there are a lot of people that needed similar streamlining and automation of their workflows. So I sort of got talking to them, and then I started offering it as a service and a business. And I've been doing that for 3 or 4 years now. And yeah, talking to people all over the world about how they create video content and how they might be able to speed that up, make it more efficient, make it more consistent is a big one, make it easier to learn, easier to pass on board people, that sort of thing. So yeah.
That's cool. Do you enjoy it?
I love it. It's problem solving. I think that's the big thing for me is everyone has their own workflows, their own ways of working. And you get to hear about all of these different ways that, people create their content and people love their work. And then you get to come in and help them make their lives easier, really. That's what it's all about. And it's, at the end of the day, it's just solving problems. You're going.
It sounds like it's a mix of not only solving the problems of the individual artist or creator, but also bigger business problems as well.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, you get to hear a lot about how their business runs, and you hear about things sort of like how algorithms changing affects their business, or how various times of year, so the seasonality might change for their business and the amount of work they have. You're solving problems on a number of levels, both on their business level for the individual editor, and then both obviously within the code, because there's a lot of problem solving within having to sort of write code or design coding workflows as well. So yeah, there's a lot of problem solving, and that's really what I love, and I really enjoy that.
Cool. And that kind of brings me to Submachine, which is your latest product, correct?
Yes. So Submachine was born out of one of these custom projects. I had a client who's doing a lot of work with Netflix. They do some of the Netflix live events, and they had to caption up all of their Netflix work, doing promos for their shows, that sort of thing. And a lot of these sort of social media videos these days are having dynamic subtitles and captions where the words come on as they're said, and they animate, and they're different colors, and they're a lot more dynamic and creative than perhaps subtitles and captions have been in the past. So this client wanted a way to speed that up and make it easier for them, especially for the live content that they were creating. So we put together this extension for them originally, and it worked well for them. So we then sort of thought about putting it out as a more generalized product. And that was probably, I think it was about 2 months or so ago. and it's been going really well. There's obviously a lot of need for it. There are lots of people looking to create that sort of content. And at this stage, there isn't really a solution within Premiere Pro or sort of within the Adobe sort of suite. So you can do round trips to other software, you can do round trips to After Effects, or it can be extremely manual inside Premiere. So it's just trying to streamline and automate that process. And we're just continually trying to do that. So I think we've had 2 or 3 updates already since it's come out, sort of based on the feedback of the users. And yeah, we're hoping to just continue doing that.
That's cool. Now, to kind of look under the hood a little bit, like, what is it actually doing here? I'm more curious for myself. Like, what is it actually using? Like, Mogerts, or like, how's it doing that?
So the base data is just an SRT file. So most of our users are Premiere based, but you could use an SRT from somewhere else. So you can use the SRT captioning functionality within Premiere, which creates your SRT file. And there are some specific parameters that we do to try and get the data as accurate as possible to make it sort of single word timing data. And then we use the Mogerts to then add that data to the timeline. So we have very specific styles and functionality within the Mogerts that allow us to set the times and the word parameters in our Mogerts. And again, we're constantly updating and improving our Mogert styles to match sort of what's currently popular. So we just released one that we call Dynamo, which is similar and sort of based on the Alex Hormozy style that has become very popular. So we recently released that. So yeah, it's around SRT to Mogert workflow essentially, but that's not something that you can manually do at scale. So you can obviously do it, but it just takes time. So this basically streamlines and speeds that up.
I was going to say, yeah, I've tried. I tried to do stuff on the SRT. It's a pain in the butt. I'm like, God, it's on here. It's like a text file, like a graphic layer. Just how come I can't treat it like that?
Yeah, that's it. And I think a lot of people feel like that as well. So having this sort of functionality to add a lot of graphical components to the timeline at once, but then edit them all at once rather than having to edit one and then go through and make sure they're all the same. I think both of those two sort of functionalities answer quite a big need at the moment.
That's cool. Well, are you working on anything special behind the scenes right now? I mean, this is a pretty big one, but anything else that we should be looking forward to?
I always have people coming and asking me for things too. The biggest projects I've got on at the moment, there's a versioning tool, which is working for a large company that needs to output videos on a regular basis. And they have, I think there are something like 20 odd languages that they need to output these videos in. They need to go in, I think 5 aspect ratios. There's 5 separate platforms, some rules and regulations and sort of call to actions that need to change as well. So all up, you have essentially one base sort of master video, and that needs to be output in, it ends up being 4,000 to 5,000 different versions, which obviously trying to do that manually is painful. So we're working on streamlining and automating that process so that they can have a streamlined workflow to get that done. Because at the moment, they're sort of having to pick and choose the most important ones, whereas what we're hoping to do is to be able to automate that and then make it so that we're not just getting those products out, it's then that you can actually start A/B testing and start actually running more advanced workflows and methods on it as well. So that's a pretty cool one that's on at the moment. And yeah, should hopefully be wrapping that up soon. There's, what else have we got? I think there's some that I can't talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, someone recently contacted me about some editing of the SRT files and sort of automating some of that and trimming. I think some of that's probably coming to Premiere as well fairly soon. So I think it's always a toss-up with whether there's a niche for it, so whether there's enough people that want to do it, but then also whether or not Adobe are likely to jump in and sort of do it themselves, because if they're going to have that sort of functionality inside Premiere Pro, then it's probably not worth me spending too much time on trying to replicate it unless I can make it different or better somehow. I have a very good relationship with Adobe. So yeah, not that they're telling me sort of what they're going to be doing, but yeah, I see it as more I'm working with them rather than sort of competing or working against them. Like, they've provided this amazing tool, an amazing ecosystem that allows third-party developers like myself to extend and improve and help add to the Adobe ecosystem. And I think that's an amazing thing. I think it's pretty incredible that you have this software and this huge software company that allows you to be able to do that. So I think it's pretty amazing.
That's cool. So I was going to ask you, like, do you have sort of a pulse on what's coming out of them, or you just kind of have a feeling?
Look, the AI, generative AI sort of stuff is pretty amazing at the moment. I've seen some things about people talking about bringing the Premiere or the Photoshop generative AI to Premiere Pro or After Effects. I think that would be pretty amazing. I think looking at some of the Chat GPT stuff, that is kind of extensions, bringing that sort of functionality to writing scripts for After Effects. I think that sort of thing is going to be huge. You can already sort of see that they're putting a lot of time and effort into that. So I think bringing that to the video side would be incredible. Obviously a fair bit more complex than trying to do imagery, but yeah, you can see it's already coming with sort of the content-aware fill that came a while ago and how that's improved, that sort of thing. So I think it looks like they're doing a lot with Adobe Express and some sort of video and animation. So I'm sure that'll sort of work its way through to the other apps as well.
That's cool. So is this like, you said you have the post-production side of things as well, but is this pretty much the primary thing that you're doing all the time?
Yeah, this is the primary thing I'm doing. It's automating and streamlining workflows. And say we've still got the production house that I still work with, but that's I've pretty much handed all of that off now. We have fairly regular meetings, and they say, hey, we're doing a lot of this. This is very repetitive. Can we sort this out, or we need to put a new product out, and we try and improve and streamline that. But generally on the day-to-day, I'm working with clients on their workflows in the same sort of manner.
Cool, man. So what is the big dream here?
I don't know if there is a big dream. I think that aim is to try and build more general products. I think that's been really fun. Submachine has been the first big one of those that I've really pushed. So to continue building Submachine, but try and create some more products that have similar sort of popularity, and solve a similar sort of problem and niche, and keep building from there, and then keep bringing in the sort of the custom clients as well, because some of those they just have fascinating problems. I'm sure in your own sort of production world there are so many different people that have just such a huge variety of problems. So seeing those always keeps it interesting. I think those are the two avenues that I'll keep pursuing.
Nice. Do you have anything else you want to share, or?
Not off the top of my head. No, I think it's been really good.
No, it's really cool stuff, man. I think there was a time in my life where I thought, like, oh, this would be really cool to do, and then I didn't really have the patience for it. It takes a lot of time. Where can people like find you, look you up, and get connected with what you're doing?
So I have a website, which is creativeworkflowsolutions.com, and you can access my emails and things there. I'm also fairly active on LinkedIn. That's probably the best option. With Submachine, we also have a Discord community, so you can access me there. But those are probably the best options for now.
Cool. Very good. Well, I appreciate your time, Andrew.
Yeah, thank you.